Hey, do you want to know how to become a human lie detector? How to detect lies from friends, family, coworkers, employees, etc.? Well, my name is Jason Hanson. I'm a former CIA officer. I'm the New York Times bestselling author of Spy Secrets Can Save Your Life. And I do a bunch of consulting, safety, and survival training. And in that, I do some lie detection training.
Please welcome back former CIA officer Jason Hanson.
Former CIA Jason Hanson.
This handsome fella is Jason Hanson.
This is Jason Hanson, former CIA guy.
So today, I'm going to share with you my 3 favorite ways to detect lies. Anybody can do this. You don't need to be any like ninja or anything like that TV show, and I can't even remember the name of it right now, where the guy could see the micro expressions and do those things that, hardly anybody can do. That's not reality. I'm going to tell you what you can actually do, what is easy to do. Now, first things first, when it comes to detecting lies, you need to know somebody's baseline. And what does that mean? How do they normally act? So around your friends, your family, your coworkers, you know how they normally behave. So for instance, when I was polygraphed by the CIA to get my job, they didn't immediately sit me in the chair and say, Jason Hanson, are you a spy? Are you working for the Russians? Are you trying to overthrow the United States government? No, they baseline you. So they ask you questions like, what's your name? Is this carpet blue? Is today Tuesday? Is it raining outside? Where are you from? Where are you born? Is this your birthday? Stuff. They ask you a bunch of just boring baseline questions. Then after that, after they baselined you, that's when they go to, hey, are you working for another government? Are you working for a foreign government to overthrow the United States? And a bunch of other questions. So first things first, baseline somebody. Easy to do. Most people, you already know their baseline. And once you know your baseline, one of my favorite, and the first thing I'm going to teach you, my first favorite lie detection way is what I call pay attention to the first 3 seconds. What does that mean? Well, as human beings, we are not great at lying. We are not natural born liars. So for instance, if I'm being honest, and you ask me a question like, hey, Jason, did you pay the electricity bill? Yes, I did. I don't have to think about it. It's an immediate yes. But if you ask somebody a question and they're lying, they might go, no, I didn't. Or they're trying to buy time. Their brain is trying to conjure up a lie. So again, when you're honest, when you're being truthful and somebody asks you something, you don't even have to think about it. It's like a split second yes, split second no. You have an immediate reaction. But when someone is lying, they're going to buy time, plus their faces are going to look normal. They're going to have a deer in the headlights look, which we'll get to in a moment. Pay attention to the first 3 seconds. I'll give you an example of how this works. In my business, which I run, when I hire people, I'll ask them, hey, have you ever done drugs? Now, I'll baseline them first, remember to get to know them, and then out of the blue, they're not going to see this coming, I'll say, hey, have you ever done drugs? Or, hey, tell me the last time you did drugs. And of course, most people say things like, oh, when I was in high school, I smoked marijuana. When I was in college, I smoked marijuana. I mean, like nothing, big deal, right? Well, one time I was doing an interview, said that, hey, tell me the last time you did drugs. And somebody, got the deer in the headlights look. They immediately were like, yeah. And I was like, hey, don't worry about it. We've all made mistakes. We've all, done stupid things, whatever. And this individual person was like, well, I don't do drugs during the week, but I still do a bunch of hard drugs on the weekend, and it doesn't, affect me much. So I'm good. Long story short, I'm not hiring somebody who's doing cocaine and, heroin on the weekend kind of thing. But I could tell because I wasn't an immediate reaction. When I've asked, hey, tell me last time you did drugs, most people immediately react of, no, I've never done it before, or, oh, well, in high school I smoked marijuana. So again, there's no pause there. There's no deer in the headlights look. They don't look nervous. They look like a normal, natural reaction. One of the other things I ask people is, hey, tell me last time you stole something. Same thing. Honest people, immediate reaction, and they'll say things like, oh, well, I stole candy from the supermarket when I was in high school. Or, hey, when I was in 7th grade, I stole money from my parents' wallet. Those kind of things, normal human behavior. We've all done stuff like that. But one time, interviewing a woman, I said, hey, tell me last time you stole something. She gets the deer in the headlights look. She's like, well, and I'm like, hey, don't worry about it. We've all done things. We all stole a Snickers from the grocery store when we were in elementary school, or whatever it might be, So I try to ease them. So this woman said, well, recently, I was working for a bookkeeper. I stole a bunch of office supplies because I want to start a competing bookkeeping company. I decided I really don't want to be in the bookkeeping business, so now I need a job here. So this was a grown woman stealing a bunch of office supplies. This wasn't some knucklehead kid in 7th grade, making a mistake stealing candy from the supermarket. Clearly, I did not hire that person. Remember, you'll see natural, normal human behavior, a quick answer if they're being honest, Or you'll see them trying to stutter by time having the deer in the headlights, which is why you pay attention to the first 3 seconds. So pay attention to the first 3 seconds of someone's response, and it will tell you a ton about if they're being truthful with you or if they're being dishonest with you. So that's the first lie detection technique that I love. The second lie detection technique that I'm going to share with you today is what I call the freeze. And what does that mean? Well, again, when we're lying being deceitful, we want to kind of draw into our tortoise shell. So we think in our mind like, hey, if I don't draw a lot of attention, nobody's going to know it was me, so I'm just going to be really quiet and sit here and not draw any attention myself. So let me give you an example. If I was teaching a seminar, and I do this when I teach my seminars, and I left a bunch of money on the table, and I came back and some money was missing, and let's say I'm teaching, 50, 100 people, it doesn't matter, and I said, oh my gosh, guys, what's going on? I'm teaching this seminar with you, I'm giving you a ton of valuable information, and somebody just came and stole all this money. Well, I would be looking around at everybody and seeing their normal human reactions. Because normal people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, Jason, I didn't take it. Oh, let me help you look for it. Let's look let's look under the tables, let's look everywhere. What normal people are gonna do. So I'm looking for the one person who's, not as animated, who's sitting there basically frozen like, oh my gosh, if I don't move, Jason will never know me, or know it was me, Jason will never see me. So they basically freeze. Perfect real world example I can tell you of this is one time I was on an airplane, and the most appropriate way I can say this is somebody passed gas. It smelled absolutely horrible. So I'm looking around like, where is the dead body? What is going on here? And I noticed almost every other passenger on this airplane is doing the same thing in my vicinity, looking around like, holy smokes, where is that smell coming from? However, to my left and about 2 seats up, there's a gentleman in the chair sitting there, and he's sitting there like this. And he's not exhibiting that normal behavior. He's not looking around at all for the smell is coming. He's not moving. He's sitting there frozen in his seat because in his mind, he's like, oh my gosh, if I don't move, nobody will know it was me. So if you're confronting somebody about something and they're usually animated and all of a sudden they're not moving as much, they're kind of frozen, they're clearly not trying to draw as much attention to themselves, that is because they are most likely guilty. So remember the freeze, number 2 lie detection technique. Third one I'm going to share for you today before I got to run because I'm at a beautiful state park right now is what I call the least guilty. What does that mean? You're going to see. I'm trying to think how I can tell this without breaching any confidentiality. So here, I'll tell you the story. Basically, I was hired to go into a retail type business, right? And this retail type business had a bunch of money missing from the cash register. We're talking thousands of dollars were missing. And so they bring me in. And one of the things people always do when they bring me in to investigate this type of stuff is they'll say, hey, listen, you don't have to go investigate, friends and family. This guy's worked for me 20 years. You don't have to worry about him, that kind of stuff. And I say, listen, the way we do this is I check out everybody or nobody, including you. Because it's always, I shouldn't say always, it's almost always the person who's their best friend or their cousin who's worked for them for 20 years. So in this case, what we do is we pass out a piece of paper. And you say, hey, tell me, as you guys all know, there's thousands of dollars missing from this business. Somebody in here took it. Tell me what you think should happen to the person who took all this money. And so everybody who's not guilty, and we call this least guilty, call it whatever you want, is like, oh, they should go to jail. They should have to return the money. They should be immediately fired. Normal human reactions. Well, there's that Sesame Street thing that was like, hey, one of these things is not like the other. So you get all the piece of paper back, and one of them is not going to be like the other. One of them is going to be like, hey, people make mistakes. If they return the money, they should be able to keep their job. And, again, people make, it's like, it doesn't match all the other responses. So you can easily do this anywhere you work. If money goes missing, pass out a piece of paper, and you're going to see all the people who are like, okay, normal human behavior, they're the least guilty, and you're going to see the one guy or one gal that doesn't add up, that doesn't look like all the others, who's like, hey, there's $10 million missing from this company. Everybody else says, hey, they should do jail for the next 20 years, where, hey, they should be able to return the money and all should be well. It doesn't add up. Remember to pay attention to the first 3 seconds. Remember the freeze. They're going in their tortoise shell. They're nervous. They're not as animated because they're guilty. And the least guilty, meaning what person gives the answer and doesn't match all the other answers, they are the one who's guilty. They're not giving a least guilty type of answer. So those are just 3 simple ways you can detect deception. There's a lot more I got for you, a lot more coming this way. So make sure you like, subscribe. Also, if you want to learn more spy secrets, go to blackbookofspysecrets.com. You can grab a free book there. Again, I'm Jason Hanson. I'm a former CIA officer, and I want to bring you information that keep you and your family safer. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.